Alrighty, welcome back. This is a follow-up video to the video that I made about beware buying a dog like this, Fila Brasileiro. It got a lot of views and coming up on 1,000 comments now. So I decided to do a follow-up video. Addressing some of them, reading some of the comments. Some are funny, and kind of elaborated on some of the topics that were brought up. It's kind of fun to see comments from all over the world, including Brazil, where this breed is from. And the Fila Brasileiro is a controversial breed, which is why I was carefully reading from notes and not just making casual commentary. So I'm going to answer some of the more common questions here, share some comments, and elaborate, clarify a few subjects. I also learned a few things from the comments, so thank you very much. First of all, at JUTAYMFM commented, you pronounce G, Ojeriza, as in gentle, which is the required trait in the breed of an aversion to strangers. Thank you. So that's cool. It's Ojeriza. I also learned that Fila means to hold. Darth Tater writes, the name Fila comes from the Brazilian filar, meaning to hold. This is a dog that will take you down and pin you until the owner rescues you from your own foolishness. And this reminded me of why I selected this breed after I researched a bunch of guard dogs. Is that they're bred to pin down and hold, they're not bred to kill. So that's a potential benefit of this breed over other guardian breeds. It was asked how they are with farm animals. Well, when I was raising black Angus steers, goats, and pigs in northern Colorado a few years ago, Mama Goat was protective and would try to headbutt Kilo through the fence when he got too close, and then Kilo would bark back. He got along fine with the other animals, but he and Mama Goat did not, so I kept them separate. I did have an Anatolian Shepherd that slept with the animals and protected them, while Kilo stayed in the yard and protected the house, or he stayed in the house. Several people asked if he was on a chain. No, absolutely not. He's on a lead, so I take him for walks with. We're outside the fenced area right now, so I have to control him. He's obviously happy being here with me. I think it's absolutely cruel to keep a dog on a short chain or leash, unattended. Lucianacenti9710 writes, thank you. There are some other breeds that ridiculous, ignorant people buy without a clue as to how to train and honor them as part of their families. They end up abandoned or abused for people's vanities. Preach so some people will listen. And that's exactly why I decided to do a video. There's macho videos out there. There's AI videos of, oh, this dog's a big mean thing. And so I wanted to kind of bring it like, tell it like it is and really strongly emphasize the very narrow use cases for a breed like this and the responsibilities of the potential owner before you go and buy one. These are not an urban indoor pet. At Lynn K8 writes, do you really need a megafauna saber-tooth as a guard dog? It seems like overkill unless the mob's after you. Well, the mob's not after me. But there has been a rash of thefts nearby, including a Jeep and a side-by-side recently. And 2 people in the area actually own African lions. So maybe a saber-toothed tiger isn't a bad idea. For example, earlier this year, I had my gate open and a woman drove up my driveway in kind of a rundown car, and I went out to meet her, and she looked to me like she was pretty amped up on methamphetamines, and she wasn't able to articulate a logical reason for driving up to my house. She changed her story and was trying to come up with excuses. And then my neighbor texted me and said there were some meth head looking dudes in a U-Haul truck parked at the end of my driveway. So thank God I was home. Thank God Kilo and I had protection. Fortunately, they left after I was home and I was not an easy target. So that was a close call. They would have burglarized all my stuff with a U-Haul truck. And I got burglarized in my 20s, losing most of my valuables and irreplaceable things. So since then, I have been proactive about protecting myself and my stuff. Fluffy the Pit Bull writes, well, according to him, local law enforcement is useless. If you got criminals coming by stealing stuff and grow ops popping up everywhere, maybe a big scary dog isn't such a bad idea. And this is a major marijuana producing area, legal and illegal, and there are gang and cartel organizations in the area, but that's probably true in most areas. Colleen Light SQ8TX writes, thank you. This is such important information. You're doing a public service. It should be taught in schools, so I appreciate your putting out accurate information with common sense and clarity. It also surprises me when folks go out and get a dog like a designer purse. Certain traits are needed, required, or to be avoided. Look up Diane Whipple. A companion is as important as a member of the family. Folks have to research breeds before they go out and get one. Go to a shelter or pound, but research. I'm sorry you have to have such a frightful weapon to protect yourself. Cops don't show up in the city either. So I looked up the Diane Whipple case and I remembered it. And she was killed by two Presa Canarios that belonged to a high-ranking member of the Aryan Brotherhood, which is a white supremacist gang. And the dogs were being kept by his attorneys inside an apartment building in San Francisco while the owner was in prison. The gang was trying to use the dogs to start a dog fighting business. The dogs were previously kept chained in a remote corner of a farm. Prior to the attack, other residents in the apartment building complained about the couple not controlling their dogs, stating they had a long history of uncontrollable and dangerous behavior. One dog bit another resident a year before the attack, and the couple didn't even apologize. The woman handling the dogs led them into the hallway where they encountered Diane Whipple and fatally attacked her. The woman did not try to stop the attack, render aid, nor call 911 after the fatal attack. They were convicted of manslaughter based in part because they knew taking these dogs into the hallway of an apartment building involved a high probability of death and a conscious disregard of serious bodily injury. The couple was sentenced to prison, and the woman was later denied parole based on prison record on the grounds that she would still be a danger to society. Keeping dogs like that in an apartment is crazy. Hopefully videos like mine might help prevent incidents like that. Although in that case there was obviously some intent to make the dogs more vicious. So no matter what kind of pet you get, even a bunny for Easter, you have to understand what you're getting into, and you must control your animal at all times. Sadly, after Easter, a lot of rabbits get dropped off at the pound because people thought it was cute to get one for Easter, then they don't realize what's required in owning a bunny rabbit. Paul Farrell 8792 writes, I thought it funny you were saying barking and growling, and he lays down as if on cue. Hilarious. Sapo 1168TX writes, I had a weenie dog with all those traits. Caddy 6848 asks, what would keep your dog from breaking out of the bedroom when you put him in there? And when I put him in the bedroom, he just lays down on his bed and relaxes. He's never clawed at the door or anything. Jessica Duncan 9309 writes, the most aggressive breed of dog is the Chihuahua. I have no experience with the Chihuahua, so I can't refute that claim. Marco 4089 writes, this breed was my first choice, but the breeder recommended me to get another breed because it would be my first dog ever. I think it was right. I got a German Shepherd instead. I learned a lot with my dog about leadership and training, and German Shepherds are much more forgiving if you make a mistake. Still love Filas. I live in Brazil, so maybe one day I'll get one. I forgot to mention these tracking breeds slobber all the time, too. Southpaw LD comments, you're absolutely correct. I prefer people to be honest about the responsibility and safekeeping of this breed than to be careless. That's how and why we got Corsos everywhere. Weldon Anderson 5124. I'm enjoying hearing this harrowing description, all the while the dog being described as chilling out, looking as relaxed and mellow as can be. He looks like a very content, happy dog in the presence of his owner alone. Exactly. Angelic Torture writes, what a beautiful dog. Not the breed for someone like me, but I can appreciate how useful they would be in certain living circumstances where safety and security are paramount. They are, however, banned here in the UK, so your boy is the first I've ever seen outside of pictures in a book subscribed. So let's talk about the legal issues, since that came up as a recurring theme. And it's a serious topic. I did some more research on it. Some people say I should remove the video right away because it's an admission that I know the dog breed has a tendency to be very protective. Well, let's play that out. Let's say something happens, God forbid, and somebody sues me. Let's say the video doesn't exist. At the deposition, and likely later at trial, a trial lawyer only has to ask a few simple questions to establish knowledge of the breed's traits, such as, did you know what breed of dog it was? Did you learn about the breed's reputation? So there it is, a couple of questions under oath, and the result's the same. They establish that the owner understands the nature of the breed. So plain dumb isn't really going to work. What about in a criminal setting where you can exercise your right to remain silent? Might a trier of fact, be it a jury or bench trial with a judge, conclude that I reasonably knew the traits of the dog? Well, let's imagine that somebody buys a supercar with 750 horsepower. They drive around the corner, hit the gas, spin out, and crash. Is it reasonable to conclude that the driver of the supercar knew that it was powerful? So the same logic might apply here. The argument is also often made with beware of dog signs. Some people say it's an admission you knew the dog is a potential threat. But what if the signs actually prevent an incident in the first place? Isn't that the best outcome? If somebody has a dog that can be protected, might lack of signage indicate a degree of negligence? If someone enters my property without permission, passes my locked gate, ignores multiple no trespassing and beware of dog signs, then approaches or enters the dog enclosure or my house, those facts will be strong evidence that the person assumed an obvious risk and may have been negligent. Here in Oregon, they follow what's called a modified comparative negligence system. For example, if a jury finds that the trespasser was 90% at fault and the dog owner is 10% at fault, an injured person who is more than 50% at fault is barred from recovering damages. So Oregon law recognizes that a person may use reasonable physical force to prevent or terminate criminal conduct such as trespass and theft. The force must be proportional to the threat. Deadly force can be used to protect myself or others. In my original video, I used the example of releasing the dog to stop theft, but after reading more about it, that was an oversimplification, and the legal use of force is more nuanced. I'm not recommending the intentional use of a dog against a person. My intent was to discuss the general concepts, not to encourage any particular response to trespass or theft. And obviously the laws differ from one jurisdiction to another. I'm not an attorney and I'm not giving any legal advice. But going back to the beware of dog sign analogy, having an intimidating dog can be a determinative factor in which the criminal decides to break into. So preventing a crime is better than dealing with the consequences of a crime. As my example of being burglarized years ago, not having a defensive system can also be a liability. You're at risk. So there's a lot of value in the things I lost. So it's about mitigating the risk. You can't eliminate it. Real life isn't black and white. Anita Nash 7777 writes, brilliant presentation on an incredible dog. Thank you. Looks like you live in a little piece of heaven. I do. Warm regards from the prison colony NSW, Australia. USA is still the most free country in the world. And thank you. I'm going to be sharing more casual videos here about life out here in the Siskiyou Mountains of Southwest Oregon, including wildlife. We have lots of it around. I just posted a short of a bear walking onto my driveway on the channel here. A lot of the local scenery, it's amazing. Some of the local history, some of my forest management strategies and techniques. There's a lot of rare native plants around here, such as the carnivorous cobra lily, etc. It's actually a relatively little known area, but fascinating with complex geology and biology. For example, our rivers, and there are 4 of them within 10 to 45 minutes of me, are in the top 1% in the nation for clarity. They are absolutely pristine and gorgeous. The Kalmiopsis Wilderness is near me and is 180,000 acres of protected roadless, remote, and rugged terrain. And only about 10% of the county is developed. The rest is wild mountains, meadows, and forests. And there's also been some mysterious things experienced around here by myself and others. So it is a remote and fascinating area, so subscribe if you want to follow Keto and I around and learn more about the area. You notice the brace. I'm waiting knee surgery because I twisted and messed up my knee on the Rainy Falls Rapids, which are class 5, although we took sort of a bypass. Waiting for surgery for that to heal, and that was on the Rogue River, wild and scenic section of the Rogue River. So there's a lot to see and do here around here, but whitewater rafting has its risks. And so does owning a dog, even a Chihuahua. Thank you for watching. Appreciate it.